Good morning, or not, depending on the size of your crypto bag, because the market is a little red again. And I want to go over it a little bit because what can we expect for Bitcoin and altcoins in the short, near term, and also maybe a little bit in the long term, as that's what I'm more focused on. But short term, goddamn, again, when are we finally going to see some positive price action, man? So what we have seen in the last couple of days was actually pretty predictable. However, I was hoping for something less predictable. What do I mean? Well, it was predictable that we are in this range for Bitcoin, and then it's likely to get rejected at the resistance level, of course. And that's exactly what happened. Now, at a certain point, you will finally break something like that. However, the question is, of course, when? Are we first going to go down, test the lower side of the range, or is this just, maybe more something where we test the mid side of the range and then go up again and break out? Now, we had a couple of seldom news events, right? We had Trump speaking, and people were really hyped for that. However, nothing that he said, I was really like, whoa. Take my money, like more than I had before or anything. And I think a lot of people, they try to find something that's bullish about that whole speech. I actually feel like, the dude is just very good in saying what people want to hear to get votes. But to actually turn me really bullish, that mission failed. Also, we had the FOMC, and although the market already kind of predicted that there was a 5% chance of rate cuts, so basically close to zero, we didn't get the rate cuts. And now it looks like, so it kind of looks like people were maybe secretly hoping for it anyway. Now it's kind of like, okay, we're not getting it in July. August, there's not coming anything. And in September, it is very likely to see rate cuts. So what I, can see happen is that now the range just going to play out over the coming couple of weeks, maybe, I don't know, and that at the beginning of September, give or take, people are trying to anticipate towards the potential rate cuts, and that is going to pump the market, and that the actual rate cuts are not going to do shit. But that's my prediction. For now, where can we go? Bitcoin first did something very interesting. We were below, let me start bullish. Let me throw it all over the fucking place, by the way. Like the video, I haven't done that already as well, right? Whatever, good morning. So Bitcoin was below the 200 daily moving average. And that is usually a place where you want to fully buy in a bull market, right? The only time in this bull market we were below it, you can see it as here, right? Where we just, depends on what you see as a bull market. I see it from the low to the high. But this was clearly in a bull market already. And we were below the 100 moving average, 200 daily moving average right here. There was a fantastic buy. There was like you average between 25 and 28K, give or take. That's beautiful if you look at where we are right now. Now, the last time we were below it was very short-lived, but it was here. That was around 58 and the wick all the way to 53K. That was a massive buying opportunity, like a massive buying opportunity. And if we get back down to these levels, but we'll come back to that, then I'm going into crypto hard. And why do I say that? Well, let me take this back. If you look at the Bitcoin production cost, what it costs for a miner to mine Bitcoin, it's currently sitting at 60K. Right, as you can see, we went below that number for a short time, which was actually pretty long if you look at Bitcoin's history, because if you take it over Bitcoin's full history, there are here and there some wicks below the production cost, but that never really sustains. And other than that, again, you have some wicks, but even the COVID crash, right? The Bitcoin production cost was sitting at $4,800. Bitcoin was sitting at around 10K or so. So when we had the COVID crash, it basically crashed to the production cost, and with a little wick below it, but there was like an hour or so, and it got bought up again. So even during COVID, the crash we hold up. And other than that, you can see like, yeah, we go below it very occasionally, like here it was, but like even riding it up again, right? So fast forward to now, yeah, if we go below the Bitcoin production cost again, it's usually super bullish and a big buying indicator. And you know, why is that? Simply because if it will cost a miner 60k to mine a Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is worth 50k, then that miner says, hey, fuck that. I'm, not putting myself in a loss. I'm stop mining, right? And if there are no new Bitcoins being mined, then the supply is not going up, but the demand is of course going up. So that automatically puts the price up. So therefore Bitcoin is kind of, designed to go up. So that's a level that I feel like, man, if we get there again, super bullish, and I am definitely going in. Now, other than that, we also had the bull market support band. If you look at it on the weekly, you can see it a little bit better. We were below the bull market support band. We got the week after that a good fat rejection right there, and the week after that we basically blast right through it. And now we are flirting with that level. So what I see though is that the whole 65.5 up till $62,500, which is quite of the range, of course, should be big support. At least if the bull market support band is going to do its thing over there, and it usually does. So that's a level that I would keep watching. Other than that, we also have big support at around 60k. Again, that's where the production cost comes in, but that's also just the range, right? And we here had a wick below the range. Wick also actually a closure, but we were there for a very short time actually. So now sitting at 64.5, can we see another 4k move down in the coming weeks? Yeah, we could. But that should have some good support over there, definitely. So that's something to pay attention to. Now, I also want to get into some altcoins, and very simple, what altcoins to dump and what altcoins to look at. And this is the, let me say this, it sounds very confident, but this is, in my opinion, the most simple and the most effective way to play the altcoin market. Okay, but I'll get into that, so stay tuned. I'm not gonna make this video too long, but that's actually really important. Now, if shit really hits fan down, then we maybe can see Bitcoin go to this side of range. I mean, let's be honest, we can all be bullish around the highs. If you look at it chart wise, yeah, I see lower lows and lower highs, right? With a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, with a low, lower low, lower low. So how weird is it to think that we are getting another lower low, right? That's actually, if you look at it like this pattern, like the most obvious thing to expect. However, if you look what that means for the price, lower 50s, right? Lower 50s. Now, at a certain point, the pattern will be broken. And maybe it will be broken right now. Maybe we do not get that lower low. But all I'm saying is, hey, if we go to like 52K, 50, don't act surprised. It's kind of written right here that that's the range, right? So do with it whatever you want. Other than that, which I think is super important as well. And what the fuck, this is a mess, man. But that's the Bitcoin dominance. Okay, let me get into the Bitcoin dominance right here, because this is actually showing some shit for altcoins. Let me remove what's actually not really needed. Okay, so the Bitcoin dominance is strong. Now, for the people that are new or whatever, that feel like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Bitcoin dominance is showing how much Bitcoin is dominating this crypto space compared to other assets like altcoins. And the higher the Bitcoin dominance goes, the more altcoins get wrecked on their Bitcoin pair. And if the Bitcoin dominance goes down, that's technically called an alt season. Now, as you can see, the Bitcoin dominance is in a fat uptrend. So it's the complete opposite of an alt season. It's altcoins get wrecked season. It's Bitcoin season. Altcoins are not performing well at the moment. And in such an uptrend, it's also not something you should expect in a very short term, right? So people, I know they like to call for an alt season, and my view has been for a long time already that we probably see it somewhat around the end of the year, beginning next year. That's still like, I don't know, man, December, March. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know, but somewhere around that region. But for now, definitely not. The Bitcoin dominance is looking super bullish. In fact, I've got such fucking great coffee. I love it. In fact, if you look at this, you can see that this whole level of around, 56% was some big resistance. We wigged, but we didn't close there. We wigged. Now we broke above it, closed above it on a weekly base for the first time this cycle. And now it actually looks like we're trying to turn that resistance into support. Okay, so if you're bullish on altcoins, then you look at this chart, then you're not having a good day probably. Now, I've drawn this out. And it's not perfect, right? But I expect something like this where the Bitcoin dominance goes up to around 58%. Could be a little high though, could be a little low, I don't know. Then maybe goes down, range for a long time, and then really beginning of the next year it goes down hard. That's kind of my expectation. Yeah, as you can see, of course, not completely following it because we're already a little later, but around something like that is the path that I kind of expect. But it could be completely off. But the Bitcoin dominance is still not looking great, and I hope that we look. Let me say it like this: this is going to be controversial as hell, but I unfortunately think that this is the truth. Oh man, I love you. All right, we could get a very disappointing alt season. What do I mean? I don't think so, but we could. Look. Alt season is simply where altcoins outperform Bitcoin, right? So simply when the Bitcoin dominance goes down, that's alt season. That's all it is. It's not like some people think that altcoins just go up very hard in price. That's nonsense, because what you see, for example, is that if you look at the altcoin market in general, you see that's from the bottom right here until the top right here, altcoins went up very hard, right? And you can say like, well, alt season. But no, it's because Bitcoin went up very hard, right? So although altcoins went up very hard, Bitcoin went up harder, and Bitcoin still outperformed altcoins. So if you look at this chart, still, this was not an alt season. It didn't even look like it. By far, this wasn't an alt season. However, and this is where it gets disappointing, an alt season can also look like this. What do I mean? Theoretically, we can see the Bitcoin dominance go down very hard during a major Bitcoin downtrend. So it is possible that this time Bitcoin just eventually goes into a bear market, of course, and that will finally be the point where the Bitcoin dominance goes down. Then we finally have our alt season, but altcoins on the dollar pair still not running, right? That's a possibility. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think Bitcoin is going way higher than where it is right now, and that money will eventually shift because people then feel like, wow, Bitcoin is in price discovery, it's getting creepy, let me put it into some altcoins right now where I expect more returns, and that we have a, I don't know, 150, 200k Bitcoin, and then the dominance goes down, then you can see altcoins doing 20x's on the dollar pairs. And that's more in line with my expectation. But I just thought it was an interesting piece of thought. Now, if we look at the altcoin market, so this is others, everything outside of the top 10 and inside of the top 125. So your top 126 coin and beyond is not even tracked on TradingView because market caps are so low, they don't even add up anymore. If you look at this, it's not looking good, man. Well, it's what we spoke about a while back. Like, hey, altcoins, they had a pump. Nice. It's good to see. However, also it's just a range, right? And the range, it's a very clear downtrend, right? And these trends usually break out to the upside, usually, right? It's not a guarantee, also, but also you don't know when, right? So we might as well see something like this, end of the year, bam, right up, possible. So. I mean, big fat lower lows, big fat lower highs on the altcoin market. This high didn't even manage to get to the top of the channel. So Yeah, I don't know. Say whatever you want, but altcoins are massively weak at the moment. Really, really, really weak at the moment. And that's not weird. Again, we have seen the Bitcoin dominance making new cycle high closes, while Bitcoin is not at the highs right now. So altcoin, and that's the terrible thing, right? Look, I mean, altcoins, they are really down quite far from their cycle high already, right? They're down with 40%. While Bitcoin from its cycle high is now down with 12%. Right? So what if Bitcoin feels like, hey guys, you know what? We're not going to range around the highs anymore. We're really going to have a decent bull market correction, right? The biggest correction that we have seen so far from absolute top to absolute bottom is 28%. Look at the 2017 bull market. We never had such a small correction. We had like 6 or 8 40% corrections, if not more. Yeah, if Bitcoin pulls off one of those now, right? And I don't think that we get that from these levels, but let's say we just go to the lower side of this range, which is another 22% correction. Yeah, then altcoins are going right into the trash can. And that's why I want to turn bullish right now, because that's exactly where you need to step in. Because what the fuck happens over the short term doesn't matter if you have long-term conviction, at least not in a negative way, right? If you feel like, hey, I have confidence in this market for the long term, and I want to stack up on quality altcoins, then you want to get a big bag. And how do you do that? Well, by buying as low as possible. And if the market is finally going to offer us that, that's nice. That's nice. But, you know, we'll see. I think that this diagonal line, it's not like super strong, but hey, 1, 2, 3, give or take, if I draw it right, it's trend, right? So let's see if we can hold this. And otherwise, we're going to make new lows. If that happens, yeah, then you should be prepared to see your altcoin bag go down 50, 60, 70% from this point, right? Which it's already from the highs, probably, right? Because altcoins are simply not doing well. Now, let's talk about the altcoin market in that case, because it's very simple what altcoins you want to buy and what altcoins you don't want to buy. One last thing though, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, they are sitting at the cycle lows right now. So it's very simple. If you, please take this into next cycle. If you were not in altcoins this complete cycle, 1, you haven't missed out on anything. 2, you would have made money because Bitcoin 4x'd. And 3, you can now buy the lows. Okay, so everybody that's always telling like, yeah, this altcoin, that altcoin, be in the altcoin market, don't miss out. So far, invalid, right? Simple. You could have just been in Bitcoin. You wrote Bitcoin, safer asset than any altcoin out there. More returns so far, and you can now buy basically the lows if you do not count this small wick of like 3% or so, right? Beautiful. So that's what you want to take a look at when it comes to buying altcoins. Altcoins on the dollar pair, they don't matter. They don't matter, right? It matters on the Bitcoin pair. Also, for the other reason that what good is it if your altcoin goes up against the dollar, but the dollar is just worth less, right? We know that the dollar in 10 years from now is worth less than today. We now know, but it's pretty likely that Bitcoin in 10 years from now is way higher than where it is today. So if your altcoin is doing well against Bitcoin, then you are really making money, right? Please learn that, apply that, do that. It takes maybe 2 cycles to really understand that. But that's how you make money in crypto, not by looking at dollar pairs. I learned it way too late in my whole journey. But since I focus on that, oh man. Also, I have some good Bitcoin. I have a good Bitcoin bag, and it makes me comfortable, right? Why? Because if the market goes up, I'm not missing out by being in USDT. No, my Bitcoin is going up. And my Bitcoin at the same time is also the dry powder, which I can now buy the lows on these altcoins with. So you have like you're okay with every fucking possibility out there, right? Unless Bitcoin is going to zero. But hey, it's more likely that a lot of altcoins are going to zero than Bitcoin does, right? So let me show you a couple of things that I'm looking at when it comes to the altcoin market. Now, what you first want to do, and this strategy, guys, let me be clear. I'm not saying you should not research altcoins, that you should not look who the team is and what the tag is, etc. But I am saying this strategy, if you apply this, what I'm going to show you right now, you will do way better than researching these altcoins. It sounds weird, but it's actually a fact, okay? What do I mean? Well, you can look at news, you can look at narratives, you can look at use cases, but if it's all that good, then you can also see it on the chart. And if the chart is showing you something else, which is going down, then the narratives and the news and the use case apparently don't matter, right? So let me show you this. Others/Bitcoin. Step 1, download TradingView. Step 2, put in others/Bitcoin. Simply others/Bitcoin, enter, you get this chart, right? Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. Now look where this chart is, because this is the average altcoin market, right? So what you want is that at least your altcoin is doing either average or better than average. If it's worse than average, then your altcoin is underperforming, not only against Bitcoin, but also against other altcoins on the Bitcoin pair. So why the fuck would you want to be in that altcoin if it's underperforming against everything out there? Then just get rid of that altcoin, okay? Sometimes take a loss to prevent a bigger loss, right? Now, let me show you an example. So I was just looking at, for example, Illuvium, right? Illuvium is a product. I had an interview with one of the founders. I love Illuvium. I like Illuvium. I think that the future for Illuvium is bright. However, charts, right? Let's take a look at the chart. So you can say like, hey, Illuvium, you know, it's kind of in the range right here where we had, you know, support here, and shit going on right here. It is a clear range, right? Against the dollar pair. And that's fine. But what if it just does this against the dollar, right? So basically nothing, and you are in Illuvium while Bitcoin is going up. Then you're missing out, right? That's not what you want. That's XRP kind of behavior. That's not what you want. So you want to take a look at Illuvium on its Bitcoin pair. And again, we want to compare it to others, right? So it has to sit at least at or above its cycle low. However, if we take a look at Illuvium Bitcoin, it's not, right? This is nothing against Illuvium. Disclaimer again, I love it. But the chart is just not healthy. Same for Fomo Factory. I will show you that as well. I like it, but I'm not a holder right now because the chart is just not ready for my money. Or my money is just not ready for to write this down. Whatever you want, right? But the cycle low for Illuvium took place over here. You know, the July low where we had the altcoin market, the June-July low where the altcoin market had its low right here. Yeah, Illuvium was sitting over here back then. So the altcoin market is now sitting at the same level, but Illuvium is down 33% from that level. So Illuvium is an underperformer. So it's simple. I don't want this, right? Do not make the mistake by looking at charts like this and be like, wow, look where it came from. It's so low. I'm gonna buy it right now. Because you could have thought that everywhere. And at the end of the day, you're now in a loss. You can trade it, of course, but that's trading. I'm talking investing, right? You could have thought anywhere like, oh, it's so low right now. The thing is, it's in full price discovery. If you reverse this chart, if you look at it like this is a chart. This looks like, I don't know, Casper or whatever. Fucking bullish, right? Fucking bullish. If this was a coin that looked like this, I would be like, okay, I'm buying the top, but I will buy it because it's up only. Bullish, man. Nothing shows any form of downtrend so far. However, again, it's inversed, and this is actually what it looks like. So you should say fucking bearish, not buying. Simple. You can say like, yeah, but DCA, But even DCAing, yeah, where do you DCA then? I mean, you could have done that over here, whatever, and your average is somewhere around here, and you're still in a fat loss, right? Same case, it does this, right? Do you want to have your money there? And you can, again, I know a lot of people, they love certain projects and they want to defend the project by saying, yeah, but this is coming now and now it's going up. If it was that spectacular, then the chart would have already shown it. But since the chart is not showing it, it is not that spectacular, at least not for the chart, right? And that's where the money is, and that's why I don't want to have my money, right? So what you want to do is apply the 4 stages of a cycle, right? And that's, again, what I've showed you a lot, but what's actually, helping in this case is, knowing that there's an accumulation phase, an uptrend, a distribution phase, and a downtrend, and then the riddle starts all over again if it's not a dead project, right? I mean, some projects, they are in a downtrend, X or so, right? And they just stay like that, right? But then it's dead. First, you want to know that this is not that. Now, of course, they just released their game, and again, you can look at the narratives, and Illuvium itself, far from that. Doesn't mean that the coin cannot go down forever, right? So you want to know that the price is, that the money in the project is not that. So what you want to make sure is that the downtrend is over. And that takes a shitload of patience. That's really hard, right? Because here, you could have thought like, wow, really new low, big pump. Okay, downtrend is over, right? Let's buy. But then it makes a lower low. And you feel like, oh shit. Then it makes a very big pump. And you think like, okay, this is back on, right? And then it's just in a down only trend, taking out all these lows. So what you really want to see actually is that at a certain point, this thing, bounces at a certain level, bounces more, hopefully puts in a higher low, right? And then starts an uptrend. And that's the point where you want to say like, okay, this is some confirmation, and this can take months, right? Months. Like here as well, for example, we had this low in July 2023, and it actually broke in June 2024. So that took a fucking year, and it still went lower. Right? So sometimes you just have to have a lot of patience with things, right? And you don't, again, want to time the market, but you also don't want to just throw all your money in the downtrend. Sometimes you just want to wait and buy the confirmations and the uptrend, right? I mean, you can buy it here, here, here. Same level as you buy it here, here, and here. And maybe even a little bit here, right? Same levels. So you're not missing out on anything. You're only making sure that you're not buying a downtrend because God knows how low that goes, but you're buying an uptrend, right? So same entries, lower risk. That's what you want to do. Again, also, I for example, I like Fomo Factory, right? It's a nice project. I think they have a lot going. It was stuck in this range like forever, basically, between $2.50 and $5. We broke out, retested, had a pump, and that was the top for altcoins in this cycle so far. And now we're just back at this range, retested it again and got rejected. And we're fully at the lower side of this range again. So again, if you're trading with dollars, I would say Fomo Factory, great buy right now. Great buy right now when it comes to the dollar, right? So if you really feel like, fuck that, I don't want to look at Bitcoin pairs, I just want to make dollars, I think you still don't really, you should really look into what I said about Bitcoin valuations. Apart from that, if you really want to trade dollars, then this is a great entry for Fomo Factory. Same for Illuvium, by the way. But again, if you look at Fomo Factory's Bitcoin, dude, this was the lower side of the range. Right? That was the lower side of the range. And now that we broke it, we are already 55% lower than the lower side of the range. It got fucking wrecked, right? Because Fomo Factory might not have done a lot on its dollar pair overall, but Bitcoin went up in the meantime. So you could have been in Fomo Factory the whole time, from here to here, for example. How much did you make or lose? Nothing. You're back at zero. But that's not what you're doing it for, right? Because if you bought Bitcoin back at that level, what was somewhere around here, then you made money, right? So in other words, buy Bitcoin, make money, right? And then you can buy your Foco Forge with that Bitcoin, but you can buy twice, 3 times as much. And if you are really bullish on a project, sometimes the best thing that you can do is not buy it. Right? There are some projects out there. Like I made this video about my portfolio and I got some comments like, you don't have this one? And it's no, I cannot have everything, of course. But there are also some projects that I indeed don't have because I love them. It sounds weird, right? But if I love Foco Forge, for example, I can buy it all over the place, right? Well, why would I if it's clear that the price is going way lower? Because now I can buy it 3 times as much. Yeah, if I love it so much, I want to have more. Right? So, yeah, that's the thing sometimes about crypto. And that's what they say, if you love it, let it go, right? Well, in this case, I'm letting it go for now. And at a certain point, the market will show me like, hey, it's time to go again, right? And then I can get in. Most people are actually afraid that they will miss out because the market will do this someday. Usually that's not how a chart looks like, right? Usually you get something from like confirmation and some higher lows and an accumulation phase before you get a parabolic move. You don't just, bottom and get a parabolic move right away after that. That's usually not how it goes. So, whatever. If you see the chart do something like this, right? You can always buy it there, right? Did you miss the lows in that case? Yes. But if you're trying to buy the lows, you're buying it here, 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 because there are new lows all over the place. Then did you actually buy the lows, right? No, because your average is here, not here, right? So the thing with crypto is actually patience beats everything, everything. And actually when it comes to that, all you have to do is just wait. So actually it's very simple. Wait, get in, wait, get out. But yeah, then we can overcomplicate it, right? If you draw this line there and this line there, then this is the point where you want to buy it. And fuck off, man, really, fuck off. So these are 2 examples of altcoins that like, if they survive in the first place, you want to wait for it, right? You really want to wait for it. Now, there are also some altcoins that, for example, I don't know why it's not tracked anymore. Oh, wait. Render Bitcoin. Right, so Render Bitcoin is actually a very strong one, right? If you look at Render Bitcoin, yeah. Right, it also was at this level around June last year, but now it went way higher in the meantime, and it's more testing that level as support, right? And it's in a massive uptrend against Bitcoin, and that's why I think is interesting. Because again, if you look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, I don't know how far this chart goes back. Let's say June 2022, right? If we go back to June 2022, was around here, right? If you look at that. Since then, altcoins have been getting wrecked against Bitcoin. Opposite of alt season has happened. However, Render from that point had its own render season, basically. So during a non-alt season, Render is outperforming hard. So therefore, I'm very happy to wait and see what Render is going to do during an alt season, actually. If this already outperforms against Bitcoin, during an alt season, bring that alt season and wreck Bitcoin, man. Really go up against Bitcoin. That's what you want. Same for Casper, for example. Also, strong chart. So that's where you want to take a look at. You also have things like XRP, for example. If this thing is not going sideways, it's going down. Don't get in, right? It's the worst stable coin ever. It depacks every now and then. DOT Bitcoin. Terrible. Terrible. This is a chart that you simply like, look, this has been going down, well, basically since it existed. If you look at this, was it ever lower than this? No. So when was the best time to buy it? Never. So don't even bother, right? and wait if it eventually maybe does something like this, right? But so far, low lows, lower highs, get out. If you're holding dots, sell that crap, right? That's how I look at things. So I want to wrap it up. I hope this was a little educational. If you like the video, like the video. Check out my high quality rap song on my channel as well. Eminem remix. I think it's pretty funny though. Nothing too serious. Yeah, leave your questions, suggestions, whatever, man. I'll see you guys soon.